This is literally what they said. So there's no interpretation here. Most of them come back. Sometimes they talk about the equipment, nasal swab, vial. But what you see is most of them are talking about we can't get the reagents. We can't get these other chemicals that we need to test. Where do they get the reagents from? Their manufacturer who made the machine in the first place, okay? And they all say, with the machines we bought, we could actually be doing more if they would give us the reagents. That's the log jam that we are in. They bought the machine, they have the test, but they need the reagents to do a higher volume of tests. When you go back to the manufacturer and say, why don't you distribute more reagents? They say one of two things. I can't get more reagents because they come from China, they come from here, they come from here. We don't make them in the United States. Or they say the federal government is telling me who to distribute it to. And this is why I say you have the federal government involved in this situation, rightfully so, because the federal government is saying to Acme Pharmaceutical, give X to California, give Y to Chicago, give Z to New York. These manufacturers are regulated by the federal government. And the federal government clearly has a role in addressing this crisis. But we need two things from the federal government. We need help on that supply chain, especially when it becomes international. And we need coordination and basic partnership. I get the state's role. We have been testing. I get this is hard. I get that it's difficult. I get that it's never going to be perfect. I get in this society there's going to be a blame game. And everyone's going to say, why didn't we have enough testing? It's the feds, it's the state. That's going to happen anyway, right? That's the world we live in. And I'm not asking for the federal government to come in and do any more than they need to do, but we do need their coordination, we do need their partnership. And we also need from the federal government, we need funding. I get that we have to fund airlines, we have to fund this business, we have to fund small business. Yeah, I agree 100%. But you also have to fund state governments. And by the way, when you fund the state government, you're not funding a private business, okay? We're not an airline. So you don't have an issue of should government really be giving tax dollars to this private entity. When you fund the state government, you just are funding a state government to perform the functions you want us to perform, which is the reopening function. I get it. I'll do it. But I need funding. And when you fund the state government, you're funding small businesses anyway, and you're funding hospitals anyway, and you're funding schools anyway.